Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity. Right, the would-be judges, the 144,000. Right, the house of David, the tabernacle of David, who is to be the governing body here on earth in the kingdom of heaven, which will be here on earth, not floating around in the clouds somewhere. That's not biblical. Right, and to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing. The Israelites are scattered among all people, and the Lord is sending the angels to gather them up from those places where they're scattered. And to the few Akwath, meaning the sisters, that are listening and learning, I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another brutal lesson in truth. And let me open with this scripture. This is Psalm 17:13. Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. You know, might want to start adding that to our prayers, because it's that time. They're definitely preparing and sharpening the sword. All right. As a matter of fact, let me get that. That's Ezekiel 21 and 9. And it reads, Son of man, prophesy and say, Thus saith Yahweh, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth and contemneth the rod of my son, as for every tree, and he that hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled? This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give into the hand of the slayer, which is the wicked. I just read it. All right, the sword was given into the wicked, just like the earth was given into his hands. And now Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man's white people, is about to use that sword. He's using this propaganda machine to breed extra hate toward the so-called black man. All right, here in America, he's the same campaign, demonize, and now he's justified in his attack. And the truth of the matter is, Jake is being extra wicked, even though it's Esau that set him up for that wickedness. Because we've said here in the Great Millstone many a time that the niggers, black culture was a so-called white creation. They created that. You go back to the prior to the 60s when our families were together, when so-called black fathers were still in the houses, being the provider and being the head of the household, and families were together, you didn't have these issues that we have now. But Esau Edom, he creates problem, reaction, solution. It's his policy that destroyed the families. It's his policy that destroyed our neighborhoods and our businesses that we had that were very successful here in Babylon, better than a lot of theirs, which is why with racial hate for about a good almost 100-year period, they went through and created. They not only did they physically destroy our towns, neighborhoods, and areas, all right, but they also put in a systematic system that are to arrest our development, and it's too much evidence to prove that. And now they're to the point where they're not hiding their hate anymore. All right. And before I play this video, there's another video, because actually the water, my beloved April O'Neil, got this out to me yesterday. I saw this and I sent this video out to a lot of people, and a lot of brothers went in on it today. So I think I may have played this at the live show. We may have spoke on it. I think we may have played a little bit of it at the live show. I think we did yesterday. But there's another video I'd like to share that I lost, and she had to actually resend it to me. And here it is, because what this young lady said made way too much sense. And it's very feasible that this is the reason why they do this. It makes total sense. So I'm going to play the video for you. It's A Real Weird Time. That's the name of it. The reason our government doesn't take care of veterans. And the reason is because your veterans would be the first line of defense against tyrannical, unconstitutional leaders that disregard the Constitution. Because all military, past and present, took a vow, police officers too, because basically any law enforcement that's involved, any military that's involved with Donald Trump's ICE forces, with his Gestapo that he's made, they're basically breaking their oath, and they're supporting a president who's giving out orders that are completely unlawful and unconstitutional. All right. In the military, you don't have to follow an unlawful order. All right. So there's going to be a division there eventually, too. And there's rumors that it's already happened. And that's one of the reasons why they probably are making sure, it's funny because they want to spend all this money going to Israel and going to America. In case you Americans didn't know, you are paying the pensions and supporting IDF forces, Israeli Defense Forces, while your own, a lot of your own veterans are homeless and begging for change and sleeping outside and sleeping in their cars and sleeping in tents and in RVs and things of that nature and sickly. But this other nation's veterans are fine. Yeah, just think about that for a moment. Okay, so with that in mind, have a listen.
The real reason our government doesn't take care of the veterans.
I'm not usually a conspiracy theorist, but I have one cooking and I genuinely believe
This
it.
makes a lot of sense.
I wholeheartedly believe that the reason the government does not take care of our veterans better is because keeping our veterans in a place where they're constantly having to survive instead of thrive means that they are far less likely to be able to participate in a form of resistance against the government. And I think that their input in a resistance would be our best shot at actually
Tell me this doesn't make sense.
government.
Stay weird.
Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
This is
So I'm going to play that again. It's only 37 seconds.
the real reason our government doesn't take care of the veterans. Watch
I am not
this.
usually a conspiracy theorist, but I have one cooking and I genuinely believe
This
it.
makes a lot of sense.
I wholeheartedly believe that the reason the government does not take care of our veterans better is because keeping our veterans in a place where they're constantly having to survive instead of thrive means that they are far less likely to be able to participate in a form of resistance against the government. And I think that their input in a resistance would be our best shot at actually
Tell me this doesn't make
authoritarian
sense.
government.
Stay weird.
Thoughts?
And over the last couple of years, too, there was a lot of videos and a lot of policy that was being pushed that were basically demonizing veterans and making them, there was a lot of rhetoric coming out of from the authorities that were basically making veterans public enemy number one, damn near. They would have said, I remember seeing and hearing those reports that said that veterans are some of the biggest threats to national security. I'm like, what? And now you know why. Because you got a lot of diehard constitutionalists, and Esau Edom is trying to evade policy because he knows that, is that Isaiah 19, I believe, the Egyptian versus the Egyptian. That's basically the Americans fighting against Americans. And this DC endgame is going to help bring that on. And it's definitely going to bring on Jacob's trouble. But in Jacob's trouble, the Egyptian versus the Egyptian is definitely going to be a part of that. This is Isaiah 19 and 19. And it reads, "The burden of Egypt, behold, Yahweh rideth upon the swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols shall be moved at his presence. And Egypt shall melt in the midst thereof." We see chariots coming all the time. And, it's funny how you have these earthquakes, these tornadoes, these floods, these even when these missiles are flying back and forth, and all of a sudden there are chariots showing up. But verse 2, Isaiah 19:2. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. All right. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to their idols and to their charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to wizards. So all their wizardry, all their pseudoscience is all going to fail. And you best believe that there's going to be Edomite resistance against Edomite resistance. Against Edomite totalitarianism, which has been launched. All right, DJ Trump has basically become authoritarian. All right, he even was joking. I saw a video, him joking about there not being elections in 28. All right, in 2028. So without any further ado, let's hear this young brother say what he has to say, and I actually agree with him wholeheartedly. All right, because when you start really looking at the situation from outside in and inside out, I believe that the brother is spot on, and Esau's gonna have to act. He's acting soon. He's moving fast. All right.
We're going to talk about the bigger picture. That's what we're going to talk about. Because I know you've been watching the headlines. Iran, Gaza, the Supreme Court, the big beautiful bill, the LA protests, the crime wave in DC. They look disconnected, like 5 different storms heading in 5 different directions, but they're not. I need you to see the bigger picture. They're testing grounds for a single system, a domestic control network built in plain sight. On one that can federalize your police, lock your streets, and stop your protests before it's even a crowd. I want you to see how serious it is. DC was just proof of concept. It was no riot, no invasion, just a crime problem. And the president took the city's police out of the mayor's hands like it was nothing. I want you to catch it because LA was the other bookend. It was a major city protest that let him test federal boots on the ground in a metropolis. Now he's got president on both coasts. The Supreme Court is guaranteed to drop rulings every year to put people in the streets. You already know this. The big beautiful bill, same thing. Legislative flashpoints that you can predict like clockwork. That's what it is. All the foreign crises, they bring protests into the Capitol and then give you the national security language to crush them. Every one of these is a trigger. Every delay. I want you to understand what's going on. Every single one of these is a drill. So when the real political flashpoints hit, like an election dispute or a mass mobilization, he's already got the authority, the map, and the muscle ready. Here's the part no one wants to say, that the muscle isn't just the National Guard, it's ICE. Because ICE was never about the border. It was the costume. It's the marketing campaign you swallow so you don't see the skeleton underneath. I want you to understand that ICE is already nationalized, already armed, already in every state, already trained for rapid deployment. They answer to one desk, not 50 governors. So when ICE shows up in your city, they're not there for immigration enforcement because that's the smoke screen. I want you to see it.
That is the smoke screen. The immigration thing. All right? It's the smoke screen. And that's clear when you see the way that they're behaving and the way they're going after legal citizens and people that are not Hispanic. And now that we were telling you out the gate that they were going to eventually target Judah, the so-called black people, and now they are.
Mapping your city, all the choke points, all the transit hubs, all the gathering sites, they're figuring out how to separate you before you even meet, breaking the protest before it's born. They use illegal immigrant so you can pretend, so you can play into the smokescreen of this operation, right? But I want to say this clearly. The situation with the legal immigrants is real. The plight that they deal with is real. They're in a bad situation, and they should have never been treated like this. But their suffering is being repurposed. It's being turned into a cover, a building, for building a federalized riot control apparatus in real time. I want you to understand what's going on. ICE. I said
he was right. He said a federalized riot apparatus because they're creating riotous situations. All right, they know that Ezekiel, that 2 Ezra 15 is about to pop off. And he said rice, but he's not being funny. Riot and ICE, well, that's rice. Maybe that's what we should just all start calling it.
Yeah, rice, but I'm not even joking. It's riot police. It's a standing domestic army wearing the badge of an immigration enforcement. That's what's happening. And I want you to understand. I want you to understand.
It's just like I was always pointing out the fact that BLM was a white organization wearing a black name as a disguise. All right? It's just a subsidiary of Antifa. And it's funny how at all these BLM gatherings and stuff, it will be more white people there in most cases than black. All right? And BLM was not for so-called black people anyway. All right? Who are really brown. They're not black at all. Okay? The young man on the screen is brown. BLM is for the broken family and the alphabet lifestyle. It's not for a father and a head of house and a man and a woman. And no, it's not at all. Stop playing.
If one's major swing state city gets caught up in the exact same thing that happened to DC or LA, it will finish the blueprint. One more public safety president in Milwaukee, Atlanta, or Philadelphia, the entire country becomes a grid he can lock down in an hour. I'm not playing. I want you to understand what this means. A march gets announced by noon. At noon. By 1 o'clock, the streets will be sealed. The bridges will be locked. The transit is cut. The choke points are manned. You're not marching toward anything because you're already surrounded. So when the president says there might be something going on down there, we might have to take a look. What he really means is that the switch is about to flip. Right, the network is about to move on the border that they can draw now, and it isn't on a map. It's around you, anytime, anywhere. I want you to understand what's going on because your politicians aren't going to move. They think this shit is temporary. They think it'll only be used in a real emergency. Even when president shows otherwise. President doesn't even look like that. President looks like they're going to benefit from this exact same power, and they believe they'll hold the presidency next and might need to use this. This is how ridiculous they are. And a lot of them ain't even put together the picture, but they treat LA, DC, ICE, court rulings as separate issues. It's the same issue. It is a domestic control apparatus. I just want you to understand. Democrats, listen to me. You fear being soft on crime, you are going to have a network built that is going to directly oppose public safety. I'm just saying this to you. I'm putting the dots together publicly so you can understand.
See, he's going over most people's head. All right. And he lost a lot of people on that part. I understood him and I got it. But you should get the message right now. And this is the message. This is Jeremiah. Jeremiah 30 and 7. And it reads, "Alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." All right? He is the elect, man. All right? The elect of Israel are actually going to live to this. 2/3 are about to get that sword. All right? They're about to die in these racial clashes, in these class wars, race wars, and political wars that are going to hit the streets of America, and the famine. All right, and then not only that, the every man for himself wars. Okay. A couple years ago, a movie came out called Bushwick, and they downplayed the hell out that movie because they really didn't want to. The same way that they just did with this movie as of recently called 40 Acres. All right. For some reason, they downplayed the hell out that movie and didn't give it, put it in limited theaters. They didn't want the people to see that. That movie revealed too much, right? Same thing as Bushwick, and I just remember them making it to the roof in a scene when he basically said to her, we've only made it one block. People, they watched people die. They got shot at. They got, a grenade thrown at them. He got shot. I mean, they watched people die. People get blown up. Gunfights. And they had only made it a block. Was on a rooftop, a block away from where they started. So it's going to get pretty bad out here, man. Okay? This is, I'm going to wrap it up with this one. Because this is at the gates, man. This knocking on the doors, man. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 15, and I'm gonna start at verse 14. Yeah, 14 through 19. And it reads, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For a sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. And modern day sword is a firearm. All right? But some people literally have swords. Okay? A lot of people are going to be getting stabbed to death. And they have a lot of tactical short swords that a lot of soldiers carry. All right? For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're not going to regard the authorities. They got, as a matter of fact, a lot of the authority is about to die in this too. All right? Because this is, they're not just going to get to smash and roll over everyone. They're actually going to get smashed and rolled over themselves as well. This is going to get pretty bad out here. A man might desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right. So once they do achieve all this, it's going to get so bad with the lack of food, the lack of lawlessness, without the rule of law. Women, you're going to hear, you're going to see rapes in the broad daylight. Okay. Women will not be safe. Children will not be safe. No one will be safe. Men won't be safe. All right. And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulations. You're going to have people kicking in other people's doors with swords in their hands, looking for food, water, and supplies. And booty. That's where that term booty comes from. When you get the gold, the silver, and you get the one boot, that's where that word comes from. All right? So that's going to happen. And it's going to happen fast, and it's going to be really, really bad. Okay? So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rakah HaKodash, Kwam Yasharala, Abba Babal. Repent and stay prayed up. Shalom.